Yes, a very good evening to you tuned into UBC TV. We thank you so much for keeping it with us and welcome to this week's edition of UBC One-on-One with Michael Jordan Lukomwa. We look for those people that have the information we need for your own good, your family, community, and this beautiful country, Uganda. We had elections and we got a parliament and a government. All these systems that make a government are giving us service, but it is our duty to know and to check the course of their service, what exactly is the quality of the work they're giving to us, and assess the kind of work they're giving to us in general. We are at Parliament and we want to look at how they are moving so far. It's almost 6 months or coming to a year as we close 2021. So we want to get to know how they are faring in terms of giving us the service of legislation, oversight, and all that. We are looking, starting with the government side, and we have the Honorable Government Chief Whip in Parliament, that is the Honorable Thomas Tayebwa. He's also a member of Parliament as well for Ruhinda County in the western parts of this beautiful country, Uganda. We want to get through him to know how they are faring as the whole House, especially the team that he leads here on UBC One-on-One. Honorable, we are so glad to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
How are you? How is the new office? How is everything generally?
We are working.
Okay.
We are working. And I heard you saying how we are faring.
Yes.
I can say without hesitation that we are faring extremely well.
Really?
Yeah.
I want you to give me an answer in a perspective of a parliament that has a good number of new people, a new leadership generally, because we have a new speaker. Fine, here he was deputy speaker, but he's a new speaker, a new deputy speaker. The chief whips are new, both on opposition and you on the government side. A number of people are new.
Yeah.
One would be expecting that you are getting to learn a number of things.
Yeah.
When you say you are faring well,
learning,
is it really true?
Learning is a continuous experience. I've seen professors going back to do bachelors. That's part of learning. So every day you are learning. The moment you believe for you've reached the apex, so you no longer need to learn, that's the end of your progress as a person.
Okay.
So we are learning every day. But we are fairly new, but again, it's not about how much time you've spent in the house. It's mainly about really the vigor you have in you and the interest you have in your work.
Okay.
And also, luckily, we have one of the seasoned legislators in the region as our speaker, the Right Honorable Jacob Bolanya. So we learn a lot from him. We have one of the seasoned people in parliamentary works, the Honorable Adolf Mwesge, as a clerk at Parliament. We have a whole bunch of technical teams. Then we do have a highly experienced Prime Minister in legislative work. She's been in Parliament for around 3 terms. She started as a councillor, as a Gombora councillor, went to the district. She worked as a deputy RDC, she worked as an RDC, she worked as a member of the NRM Executive Caucus in Parliament. She worked as a commissioner of Parliament. She worked as a Minister of State. She's now a Prime Minister. So all that experience, we are in safe hands. The Deputy Speaker was a Vice Chairperson of COSASE. She's been in Parliament for 5 years. She's highly educated, you know. So then you have me with my very big interest and my trainings in this area. So we are doing very, very well.
Let me concentrate on you that I have here. Having been, first of all, having been a backbencher for some good time, how does it feel now to be at the front line and with some big responsibility?
More pressure. I used to be relaxed. I used to have more time for the constituency. But now I need to have more time for the country.
Okay.
Basically, the principle of Napoleon is applying. If you read European history, that 4 hours of sleep are normal for a man. Okay. No, 2 hours of sleep are normal for a man, 4 for a woman, and 8 for a fool. So,
which category do you belong now?
If you read European history in A level,
yes.
So I think now I'm more or less in around 2 hours of sleep.
Okay.
Yeah. So no time to have social.
There is always
affairs,
something for you to
the
do.
little time I get is for the family, and even sometimes before you even sit down with the family, you've already received a call to go and do ABCD. And you see, the uniqueness of the Chief Whip's office is that you're at the center and the different offices are coming to you to carry out some activities.
In their operations.
From the speaker, from the clerk, from the prime minister, the president, the vice president, the ministers. So you're always on call.
Okay.
So, but I'm enjoying it, I'm loving it.
I was talking to one of your colleagues last year towards the end of the 10th Parliament. He was a chief whip on the other side. But he told me the most difficult role is to lead politicians. Do you agree?
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a really difficult because, you know, you are pushing a national agenda and then someone says, but you're taking this personal. You're putting in, what about your business? What about your family? Go relax, you know. So it's a really difficult because people believe that the extra energy you're putting in as a person is not necessary sometimes. They feel for you. You feel they feel for you. Some cooperate. Others say, no, maybe there is something bigger you're pursuing, or there is a certain incentive you are having, and you're making accountability. That's why you're pushing hard. Okay. So it's really difficult. And then also, you find the work we do requires a lot of reading, a lot of reading, a lot of being up to date. You have information from all sectors. You've read ministerial policy statements. You're following up on all cabinet matters.
You don't have to be caught unaware at any point.
No. And then you're meeting people who are challenging the information you have. It's latest, but they have all the information, and their decision is based on that. And you're like, no, this has changed. People, no, you are lying. How do you know? Me, I come from the constituency. I had a challenge one day on the floor. I was talking about issues of power in West Nile, for which I was informed more than the new colleagues. And they called me a liar. They called me a liar. I also had a situation where I was
maybe each one of you had first-hand information, but with diverse.
No, there's a time when I had a situation on the floor, and I was updating because it had come up. The MPs from Northern Region wanted to know about NUDIP program, the successor program, if you're having any successor program. And I was updating them that the successor program, we've finished consultations with the MPs and all that. And so we are now finalizing, and it's coming to cabinet. We are soon coming to parliament. And my brother Anton Akor, chairman Acholi parliamentary group, stood up and said, you're a liar, you're a liar. But he himself had attended the consultative meetings. And I had pictures. So, okay. But now people will easily believe a chairperson of Acholi parliamentary group, a person from Acholi, than me who is coming from West.
So how do you manage that balance?
You know, yeah, after you go on interacting, you don't have to take it personal.
Okay.
You know, he wanted maybe to score a certain political point to show that this program came because of him, okay? But me, you have to remain focused as long as what I've put on the record of the Hansard, on the record of Parliament is right. I don't mind if you say lies, if you call me what, but as long as I'm sure with what I'm talking about. Because it was being processed under Prime Minister's office, and that's where I belong. And
there's something unique. There's something unique about the 11th Parliament, generally. It is about something to do with age. Born before computer people are somehow very few compared to you, the 40 years and below. What kind of hope does this give to Uganda?
You know, it's, I shouldn't look at it from a point of hope only. I need to look at it from a point of a chance given to a generation. And every day when I'm looking at how we are behaving, what we are doing, I ask myself, won't we really betray the trust Ugandans have given us.
How again?
Remember the first cabinet, the first parliament of Uganda, you know, and what ended up happening?
Yes.
And the president has alluded to that. He says, I've given very many people opportunities and they have abused my trust. So it's my biggest fear. This is beyond the president. It's Ugandans giving us a chance. So are we looking at issues that affect Ugandans?
Tell me,
Are we
you're one of them.
Are we national in our own
We are posing that
perspective?
question to you, Honorable.
Yes, yes. Are we national in our own outlook and perspective when we are debating? Or you only stand up to speak about your constituency? But there are issues which go beyond the constituency. Are we putting national interests first? Or we are trying to move with the magical wand of popularity to keep our, you know, because in my area where I come from, either they are NRM, so I will just shout, NRM, NRM. Or I'm in an area where it's all about abusing Museveni. Every day I abuse the president on the floor of parliament, I'm campaigning. There's an MP who told me last time, I said, but how come you're behaving this way? He said, boss, me, I've campaigned. Yours is about going, I hear your people asking you about roads, what? Me in the city, we have the roads, we have water. People want me to abuse this president. So I've abused him and I've done my campaign. I'm done.
I have the mileage.
Okay? So that's a difference. Do we reflect on what we do?
What do you see?
With this parliament, I believe we've started extremely well. Extremely well. Because when we were processing the oil bills, we've so far processed 4 bills. We processed the NSSF bill, the East African Crude Oil Pipeline bill, the Income Tax Amendment bill, also to do with oil, and then the Public Finance Management Amendment bill,
yes,
also to do with oil. All the 4 we processed, it's not politics which have led to the success. It's coming together. So, and I can attribute this to the leadership. I've had battles with the leader of opposition on the floor, but intellectually,
okay,
we shall have skirmishes, a few of them. But if we can remain on an intellectual discourse, on engaging each other on issues that affect Ugandans, not issues that excite Ugandans, then we shall be doing well. And to my great appreciation, the current parliament is doing that. We still have a long way in terms of involving everyone in the debate, because very few people are still dominating the debate. When it comes to raising issues of national importance, anyone can do. But issues of debating, you discuss bills, you go to
debates,
technical issues, you go on the floor and you hold the fort, and you be strong on your persuasions to the rest of the colleagues. We've not yet brought more people on board.
What causes that? Because we have had the speaker himself coming out to put that on the table, that members, we need to check the way we debate here.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's because...
What affects our level of debate in parliament? Especially we are having a parliament of you people, very young lawyers, doctors, teachers, a lot of professionals in that parliament, and very young, averagely young. What affects the level of debate?
It's because of the way we have been strict on roles. The leadership in the seat, the speaker and deputy speaker, they've been strict on roles. One, you can only debate with facts, not hearsay. Okay? Number 2, you don't debate in anticipation. You have to follow the rules of procedure. And you have to be orderly. I'm still seeing situations, because we've not yet had an induction as parliament, you remember. So most of these issues you're seeing, it's because we've not yet had an induction because of COVID. Induction is very, very important. When I came in 2016, I can say induction made me what I am in terms of my contribution on the floor. So, but also, the issues we are still on, most of the people have not yet read, because you see, you need to go back. If you come as a new legislator, and for example, I'm in a certain committee, you have to go and read ministerial policy statements of that year, of this financial year. Reason being, you're running a program which you did not approve.
Yes.
It was approved by the previous parliament. So you have to go back and read. And I've read this statement. You have to go and read Vision 2040. You have to go and read the National Development Plan. Whether you're opposition or not, you
and
must
check
read
how
the,
all this
you must read the
correspond.
NRM manifesto because it's the government in power. You must read the presidential directives which he has given, and you have to be updated. So most of the colleagues needed to improve on that. We have to see how best we can help them. But also
How?
the research function.
That bit honorable. How can you help
It's
MPs?
the research function.
How can you help them to uplift the level of understanding the bills, understanding the documents, and the capacity to debate?
For example, in my office now, we have recruited people whom we are very, very sure are very knowledgeable on most of these issues. Even law has. Okay? So now it's a matter of us pushing our own MPs to use our officers. We have policy analysts who are really, really good. Any issue you would want guidance, these people are going to do for you a balanced research that will guide you, and then you make your own decision as an MP. They are not guiding you that go and make this decision. They are giving you information and breaking it down, especially on these bills, on very complicated issues. Like now we are going to be discussing the Charter for Fiscal Responsibility, which was in Parliament, which we submitted in Parliament. The committee report is ready. Now, as an MP, have you read? This is what we are doing. We are encouraging our people all the time. But also on our side, we are going to be looking at think tanks. I'm very happy the Secretary General of the party started one at the party. So we are encouraging most of these people to go and attend. But again, beyond Parliament, you have to look at the ideological orientation of your vision bearer.
As example, an MP?
Yes. For example, on our side, NRM, the president is our vision bearer. Okay? So you have to go an extra mile and you read his books, like the master said, the different writings. He has been sharing some of the writings with us. So reading, you can't force it on a person. I can break down the information for you. It's 100 pages. I give you only 1 page. But you even fail to read 1 page.
But
we are encouraging.
But if it pulls you back as a team, then what do you have to do to ensure that everybody is on board?
No, it doesn't pull us back as a team because I have my own strategies of ensuring we win on the floor. If I'm having a certain issue, I will look around 20, 30 MPs, 40, okay? Whom
out of over 200?
Yes, whom I know. Because how many will speak on the floor?
How fair is that for the whole country?
A debate is 1 hour. We have different competencies. If I'm looking at issues of taxation and all that, I will definitely run for the Kateshumbas. Okay? If I look at, if I'm looking at issues of investments and what, I will definitely run. I will definitely run for Dr. Emure Kugonza and Honorable Omara. Okay? If I'm looking at issues of the law, I will run for our very, very own people. I have the Oboso Bosses, I have the Katuntus, I have the Robin Arwakojos. So everyone is talented in one way or another.
Did you mention Katuntu?
Okay? Yes.
Is he yours?
Yes, he is.
Yours as in NRM?
He is. He's not a member of the NRM, but he's working with the NRM. Don't you know that he's a chair of a committee? And I appointed him.
Okay.
Yeah, so do I appoint one who is not mine?
Okay.
Okay? Yeah, he's working with us for the good of the country.
Beautiful.
The rest of the issues, I don't care. But he's contributing so much. And you even saw when we were having the ECOP bill, he was one of the shining stars, helping both sides to come in. These are people you cannot neglect. Okay? In the House, they even help to model the young legislators. So instead of you saying, Katuntu didn't stand on NRM flag, so I would drop him. No, you better bring him on board and he guides the rest because he's one of the top most experienced legislators we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take you back to the issue of indiscipline, like your colleague said, among politicians. On a number of occasions, we are watching TV because you guys are live on UBC TV as you debate. And we see the long seats with nobody. A few ministers, some few MPs behind them, the leader of opposition with some few members. Then why do we have absence of members of parliament during plenary?
It's an
Be
issue.
it in committees.
Yes, it's an issue we have to continue grappling with, but we are going to come out stronger on it. Because, you see, now because of COVID, we changed our rules. We only admit 100 people, so we must have the spacing that is required on our side. But we always have quorum. We always have quorum depending on the threshold given by the speaker. Okay? So, like on ministers, if we brought all our 80 ministers, 81 ministers, I mean, we would have covered the whole, the whole parliament. So what I do, I look at the order paper, and I know Minister so-and-so is going to have issues. I also talk to colleagues. I know there are issues of national importance coming. And then I request these ministers. I say, Honorable, for you as a must, you're needed in the House.
And that is something has happened.
Yes.
Such ministers have disappointed you at the floor of parliament.
You can't have it all the time.
But how does it happen that somebody...
But for now...
Under someone's docket, there is an issue that parliament has designed to debate today. You even informed them, and this person does not appear.
No.
How does that happen?
You see, it's not as simple as that. Sometimes we give unrealistic timelines. Okay? Because the speaker guides and says, I need you on Wednesday. But the information you need to correct, you need 2 weeks. Or you're given 1 week, you need 2 weeks. So we usually come back. Okay. No, it's not ideal. We come back to the speaker, and we explain to the speaker, and the minister writes to the speaker, because we must respect that important chair, okay, of the speaker. So we write back to the speaker. Now, you on the order paper, you're seeing a minister is missing, but we've already explained to the speaker why we are not able to make these statements, or why we are not able to...
But we have seen the speaker complaining
these,
again.
Responses. And then sometimes...
On a number of occasions, the Right Honourable Kadaga would complain. And we have seen the Honourable Anita Among complain as well. And
then sometimes we have, of course, situations where ministers don't respond in time and they don't communicate. Okay? So those are situations which I pick. I go, I share with the ministers, with the Prime Minister, and we go behind doors and we ensure they are sorted out. But we have responded to issues. For example, the Prime Minister Aaron has answered 102 questions in the House. Prime Minister Aaron, during Prime Minister's question time.
Yes.
The ministers have presented 137 statements. The ministers, responding to various issues, from members' constituencies to the country in general, you know, all this has been done. So we have processed bills. Bills are processed with the ministers. And these are issues of plenary, okay? Because we have tabled 11 bills, and so far we have processed 4 successfully. Now, those same ministers are needed in committees. And the bigger work of parliament is in committees. Sometimes you find, I've had a situation where the Minister of Finance called me, and he said, I'm needed in 4 committees at once. General Tafire also called me, said, you need me in 3 committees at the same time. So that's why we've gone back and given feedback to the Speaker and the clerk, and we've said, I think it is sectoral committees, they sit on Monday and Tuesday, and then standing committees, Wednesday and Thursday, so that the ministers are balanced. So parliament, work of parliament is not only plenary. Plenary is what people see on TV, live.
Yes.
But there is what you usually have in news. I can assure you, when you go back, you'll find around 80% of the news in parliament is coming from committee work.
That is true.
Yeah. So, and who is in committee works? It's the ministers. So they are working day and night. It's not easy being a minister and you're having, you know, to do all this work.
Thank you. You have talked about a number of bills that you have passed. There are a lot of questions about the oil bill. Why do you think there is excitement about the oil bill?
You know, this is what has been holding back the oil and gas sector in the country. These three bills, that is the East African Crude Oil Pipeline Bill,
Yes.
the Income Tax Amendment Bill, and the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, are expected to unlock the oil sector. In that around mid-January, we hope a final investment decision to be made on the East African Crude Oil Pipeline.
Okay.
Now, you couldn't drill oil without means of transporting it. We have all other roads, but the ones for transporting, we couldn't.
Okay.
So this is an enabler. And we believe from the construction of this pipeline, okay, we shall contribute to our GDP around $9 billion in the medium term, in the next like 5 years.
Yes.
And this is 22% of our current GDP. You really can't believe it. We are going to have around 14,000 people employed directly, and then around 46,000 employed indirectly.
Yes.
So many people in the business sector have had their businesses crashing because they went, took loans, preparing for this sector, and we ended up not doing what was supposed to be done in time. So Tanzania has already finished the laws on their part, and now it was Uganda remaining. So with this bill passed, the East African Crude Oil Pipeline Bill, which is going to govern how the oil pipeline is going to be constructed, maintained, and all that. And then we have the Income Tax Amendment Bill, which is introducing 15% tax, windfall tax, whenever oil companies sell their oil beyond $75 per barrel. So the profit that they will have, we shall tax it an extra 15% on top of the taxes we already have. Then we have the Income Tax Amendment Bill, the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, where now we have allowed our very own Uganda National Oil Company to invest. You know, we've given it resources to invest. We are saying when you sell oil, retain some money. And I saw many Ugandans saying, no, we are going back to Angola, what? No. This is only 7% of what we are going to be selling as a country. 93% is safe, okay?
Yes.
Is already guaranteed for government. 7% is the one which is going to do with these operations and all that. So that's why we said we should allow access to 7% so that we can guarantee 93%. Countries which have not done that, they've ended up losing the 7%, and then the oil companies, even because of default, encroach on the 93%. So we've made it very, very easy. And countries which have made money from the oil and gas sector successfully are countries which have invested, not countries which have made money out of taxes and royalties. Okay. Here, it's also investment. So I'm glad that unanimously we work together as a team in Parliament, both opposition and ruling government, with the guidance of the Speaker. We managed to pass these bills in a record time. Yesterday we passed 2 bills in one day. Unbelievable. Really, really unbelievable. And that's why I'm proud of this Parliament. Whether on the side of opposition, whether on the side of government, what we are doing is really unbelievable.
Okay. There is belief, you will clear whether it's a lie or a fact, that a number of members of Parliament, especially on the government side, are paid to pass bills.
Yeah.
When it comes to pass bills that have some sensitivity, for example, that one to do with oil, bills that have some political attachments.
Tell me what you can do really to buy the whole of that Parliament.
Of course, it's
So,
not,
you know,
it's not all the Parliament.
Some people are mad slinging the house. I can tell you, these are bills we passed without even calling a caucus. Go back to the oil bills which were passed, I think around 2015. You see the war which was in Parliament.
Yes.
And you look at this one. Not even a caucus was called. Okay? That shows you that we've already understood the vision of our president. And the vision of our president is the vision of our country. So we are moving together. We are moving in consonance.
So no one is paid.
There was no need. I can tell you, No single MP can say the president made a call to me to say support this bill. None. In fact, I'm the one who just updated him that we've done so. He said, really? Hey, congratulations.
So,
because we have a unity of purpose now in the House. And the approach we are using, we are, you can't believe the different days of negotiation and haggling. Now, the Minister for Energy, the Honorable Ruth Nankabirwa.
yes.
Okay?
Former Chief Whip Lady.
The Shadow Minister for Energy, okay, is her opponent in Chiboga.
Yes, yes.
But they sat on a table. They sat on a table. I was chairing those meetings. I never had anything to do with politics of Chiboga. It was politics of Uganda and welfare of Ugandans. Honorable Christine Kai brought a minority report. Okay? Honorable Nankabirwa, from our side, we had a majority report. We sat, we went through issue by issue and agreed. Now, is that bribery? No. So if there are Ugandans who had lost hope, that for you to pass anything in Parliament, you need to pay, you need to do what? They should forget it. We've opened a new chapter. I don't know about those bribery which they were talking about, but all I know is, as a chief whip, there is no single MP
yes.
who asked me anything to pass any of these laws. And you could even see how we were moving.
So, during your tenure...
How much will you bribe Mpoga? How much will you bribe Chivumbi? You know? So if people go, how much? If people go outside and make their deals, people can go and make their deals. I'm not part of that. I'm looking at did we pick money from government to give anyone money? No. Did anyone from opposition demand anything to pass any of these 4 laws? No.
So with these 4 laws, there is nothing like that?
Nothing, and I'm sure even for the future there will be nothing. If you think you're going to come to Parliament and you will only pass government business or business in Parliament because you need first be given money, kindly, we already give you enough money in terms of salary, in terms of allowances. You won't get any money from government.
There are a number of bills and laws that have split the NRM side. Very sensitive bills that have left the NRM side split.
Yeah.
A few people walking away, others even joining the opposition. Tojukwatako left some MPs going to the opposition and many others. As the chief whip now leading this team, how ready are you to handle situations like that, to keep a solid team no matter the bills that will come, and some people do not agree with them so much to that level of even leaving the parties?
You see, bills, they will come. We shall have such a bills.
How will you mobilize?
We shall have such a bills. They don't only split the NRM side, they also split the opposition itself.
We have not seen people crossing to the NRM. Anyway, you have...
They also split the opposition. I know, I deal with these people.
Okay.
You see, at the end of the day, we are colleagues. Whether someone is in opposition or not, at the end of the day, we pass through the same funnel to reach here. So there are things we talk that we don't say in the camera. But when we are seated together as colleagues in the canteen on lunch and what, we share a lot. Even in corridors, we share a lot as colleagues. Now, the only way when we get such a bills is to ensure that we do comprehensive consultations. Buy-in. We have to ensure we have a buy-in for all colleagues.
Yes.
Some might, you can't have 100%, but do I have 80, 90% of colleagues? Yes. And that doesn't mean that I forget the 10%. I will pursue the 10% also to come on board. We try to be as accommodative as possible. Because you see, when government brings the bill, they issue the principles. Have we diverted from the principles? We can make a few concessions here and there without diverting from the principles. I can tell you on these oil bills, we made some concessions, but without diverting and affecting the structure of the bill. Okay?
Yes.
So our strategy will be ensuring that everyone is included in the process. We shall ensure that we explain ourselves. We don't want to force anyone to make any move on the floor. we shall explain ourselves. We shall explain what that law is about. We shall explain what we might lose as a country if we don't pass it. And we believe, I've seen, the moment you explain, and we shall not get tired of explaining. You see, I've learned this from the president. He has emphasized it to me. He says, learn to be patient. Be patient. Explain and explain. Don't mind, even if it means you repeating yourself 1,000 times. You've seen even in the Bible, David thanked God so much, but he continued and wrote the Psalms. Okay? It went on and on and on and on. So being thankful, being patient, repeating yourself, as long as you know that you're focused on the ball. So we shall engage colleagues. We have our regional caucuses, even if it means visiting their homes to explain over, a table.
Honorable Nankabirwa did
We
all
will
that.
do it. We will do it. And she did well. Nankabirwa did well. Okay? But, around 2-3 colleagues who fall off. You, the media, you love following those ones. 1, 2 have gone. What about those ones I've maintained?
but that is newsworthy. If a family fails to control,
so for you,
if
if
it is only
your
one
focus,
child, it's newsworthy.
if your focus is on making news, your focus is on making news, my focus is on ensuring that what we are targeting as a country, maintaining the principle and the structure, is achieved.
How independent are you as Parliament of Uganda?
So much.
Really?
Yeah, so much. So much. You see,
In this discussion alone, you have mentioned the president so many times.
Yes. People misunderstand. People misunderstand separation of powers. The principle of separation of powers does not mean divorce of institutions. The principle of separation of powers can only apply when institutions are working together. You tell me, just go say, judiciary be independent. But we have passed their budget. Okay?
Yes.
Parliament.
In your power as Parliament.
Parliament be independent. The president has to sign our laws.
Because that is his role.
What does it help you? What does it help you to keep doing laws which the president will bounce back?
Let me give you a public opinion.
Okay? And then
where the public thinks you're not independent. Look at bills that are brought back to you by the president. And you have to revise them and take what would be his view. Is that independence?
I want to give you
a
very good example. The president doesn't say, PPS, Dr. Mona, take back this bill. No, he gives the reasons. Okay? He gives the reasons. In the sexual offences bill, which he returned, we found there are cases of rape and defilement where we had reduced the sentences. And yet we were thinking we are improving on the situation. Now, and not every time do we agree with the president when he returns laws and all that. But what we do, we engage with him. I want to give you an example of the NSSF bill, where he has not yet assented to it, but I'm sure he will soon. The NSSF bill, the president returned
it has been sent to him the second time.
Yeah, the NSSF bill, the president returned it.
Yes.
So when he returned it, he was saying, number one, I want supervision to be by Minister of Finance. Okay? Number two, I want the MD to be part of the NSSF board. Okay?
Yes.
Number three, for mid-term access for the disabled should also be, I think, around 20 and all that. Those issues which he raised. What happened? We bring the bill to the parliament and we say no. It's not a matter of throwing bills at each other. The president has brought it, we say he has thrown it to us. Then we also process and we throw it back to him. No, I called the president. I said, Your Excellency, these are issues I think we need to sit down and dialogue. And we come up with a meeting of minds. The day they bombed Kampala, when people were rushing and what, we were seated with the president in State House Entebbe. Okay? He ended up agreeing with the position of parliament after listening to all sides.
You people going to Entebbe,
Okay?
you people going to beat him in Entebbe,
listen,
is one of the reasons people misunderstand
you wanted him
his influence.
You wanted him to meet us in our homes?
No.
Do you know
of course, your homes is not
office? Do you know
office.
definition of a president and his power? And I've seen it happening in Uganda. People are just trying to bring a president down.
So you haven't not my word. You've also had people complain.
Yes, I know it's not you. I know how much respect you give the president. But we have people
yes.
who would want to compare the head of state with the so-called presidents. You know, we have union presidents, we have company presidents, we have Batakamweziche presidents. These funeral associations of the villages also have presidents.
Yes.
And people want also to define them as presidents.
So you, he does not interfere with the operations.
I can tell you, the president has given us our space to do our work. Okay? Whenever we need to consult him, we do. Whenever we don't, we don't. But my office is to ensure that I'm a bridge to ensure that Parliament and the executive are working in consonance.
Okay.
Okay? I go to the judiciary and we say, Chief Justice, these are issues to do with helping the judiciary work, and we pass them. So we are working as a team. We are not having one seated on the other. We are working as a team, but it must be well known by anyone that the executive is ahead of us.
Corruption
Even
is
if we are having separation of powers.
Corruption is one of those problems we are grappling with as a country for ages, decades. And every other day, the figures almost go high. As Parliament, as your team, what kind of role are you playing? What contribution do you have? In fact, in the interviews I had with the leadership of Parliament, the 10th Parliament, I was told that at one point they had to dissolve a committee,
yes,
which was found guilty of involvement in corrupt tendencies.
I think...
how can we count on you when it comes to fighting corruption in this country?
There is zero tolerance for corruption at Parliament. It has
the word has been here
very
for so
clear.
long.
For example, now, the Speaker has made it very clear that you can no longer go into conferences. And the Right Honourable Kadaga had also made it clear last time, but the implementation was weak. But now it has been strengthened in terms of implementation. You cannot be a government agency and you start taking MPs to hotels, Munyonyo, Serena, without clearance of the Speaker. Because we are facilitated by government to do our work as Parliament. Yes. That has been one area of corruption. That has been dealt with strongly. Okay? Then, the other one, we have to ensure that we as Parliament, we give enough support to agencies fighting corruption. For example, the IGG's office is underfunded. They are not funded at all. We left it to donors. We left it to donors. Danida, what? So when these donors got COVID problems, most of them withdrew. And it has been crippling. They just get salaries. We only meet our statutory obligations of salaries and all that. So we have to fund the IGG's office. We have to fund the State House and Corruption Office. We have to fund the CID seriously, and we give them support. But above all, we must be accountable as leaders ourselves. Okay? So all these efforts they are bringing, they know they have support from us. But then also,
how do you support your own organs?
We have to ensure that we process accountability committee reports quickly as a House.
How do you support your own organs as Parliament that are designed in a mode or way of fighting corruption? That's COSASE, Public Accounts Committee, the Local Government Account Committee, and all those others. How do you support them?
Yes.
What kind of attention are they given to ensure that they really give Ugandans that value for money and time?
The number one, by design of the Constitution, they are for opposition.
Yes.
Okay? So,
in Parliament?
Yes, they are for opposition. They are led by opposition in Parliament.
Yes.
And because they are led by opposition, we didn't want government to check itself. We already have our own checks of audits and all that. But now they come in. So, what we need to do as a House is to ensure that we follow our rules of procedure, whereby when reports are made, we present the Treasury Memoranda.
Okay.
That's the statement clearly showing the action taken on recommendations of Parliament. Because you remember, recommendations of Parliament are advisory. They are advisory. But these committees, at least, they move an extra mile. They do a lot of work. I've seen money being returned and all that. And also, we need to give them more time so that they can process these reports, more time and resources, so that they can process reports quickly. We don't have backlogs. The last Parliament cleared all reports. I know there was contention. The chairpersons of accountability committees wanted to bring back some of the reports. But now as government, we have to ensure that we provide the Treasury Memoranda on all those recommendations which we are in. We clear the backlogs and therefore we start on a very clean slate.
What is the relationship between you, the government chief whip, and your team, and the leader of opposition and his team?
No one is doing their village work here or family work. I'm doing government work.
Yes.
Yes.
But how do you relate in your operations?
I'm doing government work.
Parliament
and
people?
the leader of opposition and team are also doing government work.
Fine,
they
but
are
how do you relate?
facilitated by government. So our relationship, number one, at a personal level, we are friends. We were friends before, so we've continued as friends. But at the work level, it's cordial. We work together. They have brought statements. We have brought responses. We've had an exchange of ideas. They have presented some of the statements which we found valuable, and we've picked out on very important information they brought. We appreciate each other and we respect each other.
We have seen them walk out of Parliament. We have seen them walk out of Parliament without your support when their colleagues had been arrested and no bail and what?
Yes, we didn't agree with the approach. So you wanted us to join them in walking out?
No, you didn't support them as they tried to push for their colleagues' bail and things like that.
We felt that was rushed. They made rushed decisions, okay? And we engaged. The next day in the morning, I was meeting Rope, okay, to talk about the issue. So, and really we feel when a colleague is in a certain dire situation, it's a colleague. We all feel it. It's a human being. We all feel it. So behind the scenes, we go back and we clear a few things. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, we shall make statements which look like we are belittling each other, look like we don't work with each other. But the ultimate goal is remaining focused on the country, Uganda.
There is news in town as we wind up that the current leadership in Parliament is doing whatever to delete whatever would be memory of the name Rebecca Kadaga in Parliament. How true is that?
I don't believe it. And if anyone has that intention, that would be absurd.
There is an institute that had his name that was scrapped.
Mama Rebecca made a tremendous contribution to this country as a speaker, as a deputy speaker, as a speaker, the first female speaker. So really, I don't think anyone has that intention. I have been in the office of the speaker. I have been in the office of the deputy speaker. We have people who would want to keep us in the campaign mode. For example, I go to the deputy speaker and I propose and she doesn't agree, she doesn't allow. And then people say, how could she have allowed when you stood with her? No, we went over that long time ago.
Okay.
We are now serving the nation. We are one team. We are respecting each other. I've not seen at any moment the speaker trying to involve me in any scheme or the deputy to say, let us try to delete what Mama Rebecca achieved. No, we still respect her in high regard. I know they respect her in high regard.
Briefly, so, what happened to that institute that had her name?
It was a law which was brought by a private member. It wasn't a law brought by the speaker or deputy speaker. It was a law brought by a private member.
With no influence.
MPs and MPs. I don't know about anything. He didn't consult me. It was brought by Honorable Anthony Akor,
okay,
who is from the opposition. I don't think when he's bringing his laws, he consults government side. He brought his law. It passed. So I really wouldn't want to comment about that because it was a resolution of Parliament and all of us have to take responsibility for it.
His name is the Honorable Thomas Tayebwa. He's a member of Parliament from Ruhinda County.
Ruhinda North County.
Ruhinda North County, and is also currently serving as the government chief whip in Parliament. We thank you so much for watching. With my team, Davis Kamukama, Gloria Gwitabinji, and myself, Michael Jordan Lukomwa, wish you the best of the season. Bye-bye for now.